like an effort issue tonight. What do you think about that?
I agree. Yeah, I told him for the first time I'm disappointed in just how we fought. We're a team that stays connected, and we fought. And I thought we didn't do well in both categories. But the bright side is we know how to fix it and how to fix it quickly. So that's the bright side.
Where do you think that came from today?
That's what I'm trying to figure out with this group. You know, I talked about just being super vulnerable. Just be honest with me. You know, what can I do better? And they just, you know, said like we got to just do a better job fighting. So they took ownership, and I said, hey, look, I'm gonna do whatever I can to make sure I put you guys in that fighting mode, whatever that helps to prepare you guys, ignite you guys. But we also did talk about, like, if we have to stay consistently with watching more film, especially too, on the flip side, recovery, because physically we look like we had heavy legs. So whatever that looks like, not just, you know, meals and this, it's like we got to work on our recovery as well.
Do you think there's anything to getting a little too high off of the last 3 wins?
No, just because there's no need to.
Yeah.
I mean, we talked about like there is no carryover, so we always talk about like nothing carries over from game to game. To me, I saw a little bit of heavy legs, fatigue, and so how can I manage that better in between the games? Maybe super short practice. Maybe my practice was too long, so I have to figure out what best works, you know, for players that just love to work out and they love to practice. So I think we got to come to an agreement with how much do I give them that freedom to work, or when can I say, hey, that's enough, let's just stay focused on the game. Yeah.
They also felt like it was a little too early to kind of just speak on adjustments needed for Thursday night's matchup. But as a head coach, what adjustments do you foresee needing to change?
Yeah, effort. I mean, that is the epitome of who we are, is literally defensive-minded team that loves to be physical, disrupt, pressure, take away, you know, the top scorers. Like, that's kind of our identity. But if you don't have any effort, then that kind of becomes irrelevant. I mean, Paige got 20, Enrique got 19. That wasn't the game plan. So we got to do, you know, the game plan, but it's got to have effort behind it. You know, you can have an amazing game plan, but if we're not committed to the effort and the physicality, in which, again, 5 offensive rebounds, that's not who we are, and we're not going to win games that way.
One of the things that you mentioned just right now is just the simple fact of having that open dialogue with your players. Do you feel like that sort of relationship is what allows you to get the best version of them each and every night?
I think so. This is kind of still my first go around, you know, so I'm learning. And what I tell our players too is like, just be super vulnerable with me. I'm an open book because their heads were kind of down. I'm like, put your heads up. This is just basketball, y'all. Like, this is just basketball. And I love that they take ownership of being disappointed and being upset. But I'm like, hey, look, we got another game in less than 48 hours. So let's, you know, we learn from it. We know we didn't fight. We know the effort wasn't there. So get our recovery, look at some film, and then be ready for Indiana. You know,
Natalie, forgive me if this has already been
No,
asked,
all
but
good.
I guess how are you looking at these next 5 home games? You know, you have a stretch where you're at Chase, you're gonna have that kind of home advantage. How are you kind of trying to forget this and move forward?
Yeah, I mean, we don't want to forget it because obviously it feels, you know, painful right now. We talk about that, like this is part of our growing pains. We talked about short-term pain for long-term results. But I don't want to look at 5. I actually just want to look at Indiana. We're a team about being present, being where our feet are. So we got to learn from this. That's the best thing kind of about losses is you get to learn from all the things that you didn't do well, take that in, and then we got to be ready for Indiana because Indiana, same thing with Dallas, they get up the floor fast. So if we don't have the legs, if I don't have the physical energy and the mental capacity, then, you know, I'm not going to be setting them up. So I got to get them there.
Do you think the rebounding disadvantage tonight, do you think that was mostly effort, or do you think there's different strategy to be done with Temi gone and just being so undersized?
Yeah, I mean, obviously without, you know, Temi, who's, you know, just, she grabs all the boards. I mean, that team, they were more physical than us, so they weren't allowing us to get those rebounds. But again, I think I got to take responsibility too of like, did I over practice them the other day? Like I have to make sure I find the right balance, you know, because we went from Carla to playing maybe like 10 minutes to 7 minutes. Now she's playing 27, you know, like, I mean, Veronica, she's playing heavy minutes. So I really got to do a better job of balancing, you know, between the off days. So, and making sure they get their recovery.